Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing some Blue Eyes White Dragon test hand. So I'm really excited for this deck, because this deck is absolutely insane, and can make the amazing and awesome powerful Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon. Now my deck does focus around summoning Fusion, Synchros, and Xyz monsters, but it is very good at summoning the Fusion monsters in particular, because they are amazing powerful cards. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come part of notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below, where you have all those awesome rewards like getting your name description for every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, or even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron along with test hands. And definitely check out the deck profile down in the description below as well. So we're going to go ahead and start shuffling up this deck and just see what we can pull off with a couple of test hands of this deck. It has a lot of draw potential in this particular build that I have, and it has some really amazing potential to be able to go into stuff like your Blue Eyes Ultimate Alternative Dragon, and summon some really powerful stuff like True King of All Calamities, and even other cards in the extra deck like your Numeron Dragon to give you a 9,000 beat stick. It's very, very good and extremely consistent in throwing out those powerful monsters. So we're going to get straight on into this and see what we can do. So definitely comment down below and tell me what your favorite form of Blue Eyes is, with all the different forms of Blue Eyes that are running around nowadays. But let's go ahead and shuffle up the deck. So we're going to go ahead and see what we can do. We're going to go ahead and draw into a Return of the Dragon Lords, which is essentially Monster Reborn, our one of Call by the Grave, Blue Eyes White Dragon, a copy of Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, and a copy of Sage with Eyes of Blue. So this is a pretty good hand just opening up. You can go with some really defensive plays if you're going first with this particular hand, because you have so much advantage with this particular set. So what we're going to go ahead and do with a simple Blue Eyes play is we're going to reveal the Blue Eyes in our hand and special summon out our copy of Alternative White Dragon. We're then going to normal summon out our copy of Sage with Eyes of Blue, which can get us a bunch of searches out of the deck. You can add any of your level 1 light tuner monsters from your deck to your hand. Usually I like to add my Effect Veiler from deck to hand, but you can add any copies of the White Stone of Legends, you can add the White Stone of Ancients, or you can add Effect Veiler from your deck to your hand. It depends on which particular copy that you need for the particular instance. With the hand that I have set up, I would like to have one more negation along with the copy of my Call by the Grave, which I probably would have to throw at this point because my opponent's going to try and stop me, which I'm going to go ahead and grab the Effect Veiler, which yes, my opponent will know that it's there, but that's not that big of a deal because they're going to try and play around it, but I'm going to know where the choke point is to hit my opponent usually. So at this point, you have a lot of different plays, but the effect of your Blue Eyes Alternative White that says it cannot be normal summoned or set, it must first be special summoned from your hand by revealing a Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand, but I can bring it back later with Return of the Dragon Lords because it's already been special summoned correctly. So at this point, you could go ahead and Synchro summon and summon out your copy of Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon in defense mode. So your Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon is going to be a really good defensive card that a lot of people overlook this card, but it's extremely powerful if you guys don't know what this does. But basically what this card does is neither player can special summon 2 or more monsters at the same time, and then once per turn during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated in the graveyard, you can negate the activation of the card. And then during either player's turn, you contribute the Synchro Summon card to special summon 1 light dragon monster from your extra deck in defense position, except another copy of Spirit Dragon, but destroy it during the end phase of this turn, which I have plenty of ways to play around that. So we're going to go ahead and throw our Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon on our field in defense, and we're going to go ahead and pass. Now, you do have the copy of your Return of the Dragon Lords that you could bring back your copy of Alternative White, but I like to hold on that until the next turn, because on the next turn, I can go into a copy of VFD, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well. Which you don't have to play it in this deck if you don't want to play True King, or if it gets banned on the next ban list. You don't have to play it in this particular instance. It is pretty helpful, but it doesn't end all be all of the deck. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and tribute the copy of our Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon on our side of the field, which is going to let us summon any of our light monsters from our extra deck, which is going to be a copy of Azure Eyes Silver Dragon, which if this card is special summoned until the end phase of the next turn, neither player can target dragon monsters you currently control with card effects, and also they cannot be destroyed by card effects either, which is going to protect our copy of our Azure Eyes from being destroyed instead of it being destroyed off the copy of our Spirit Dragon's effect. So Now that we've summoned this out to our side of the field, we had multiple different instances that we could actually hit. We could actually summon Moonlight or this in my particular build. You can actually play Stardust Spark if you want to play Stardust Spark as well. That is another option for you guys to throw in the deck if you want to. But now that we've gone into this card, this is probably the best play, but you can also target normal monsters in the graveyard and bring them back. So if I do draw in a copy of Trade-In or Melody and I discard this, I can bring it back later. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let my opponent go. I'm going to discard the copy of Effect Veiler and I'm going to draw from my turn if they don't destroy this card. So I'm going to go ahead and draw into a copy of Polymerization. So now that we have this particular hand, we're going to go ahead and drop the copy Return of the Dragon Lords, and we're going to go ahead and special summon the alternative white. Now, if you didn't get rid of the Effect Veiler, if you didn't use the Effect Veiler, you could do something very simple here and normal summon out the copy of Effect Veiler, and then once you normal summon out the Effect Veiler, you could synchro summon these two together to summon out a copy of Cloud Castle. Now, Cloud Castle is a very interesting card that is actually going to let you special summon a level 9 monster, level 8 or 9 from the graveyard, which I'm going to summon out a copy of Spirit Dragon, and then I'm going to go ahead and overlay them both and summon my True King of all Calamities on top of my copy of my Cloud Castle and my Spirit Dragon, and then I have Silver Dragon on my side of the field as well that can go into attack mode and swing if I want to go for a little extra damage. Now, if I pass for turn there, I'm going to go ahead and draw, and I'm going to draw into another copy of Blue Eyes, and if I have a way that I can actually get this Blue Eyes back out of the graveyard, or if I didn't use my Return of the Dragon Lords to synchro summon, at this point I could go for the alternative ultimate if I would just wait a little bit longer. But you have a lot of different plays, as you can see, that you can go for in this particular deck. It's very versatile in what the Blue Eyes White Dragon deck can actually do, which is really cool that it can go into 3 different summoning mechanics simultaneously in this particular build. Now, a lot of people don't play the fusion monsters in their build. They just play the Synchros and the XZs and Links, and I totally get why, but I just like the way that the fusion monsters feel in the deck, and they're actually pretty good outs to Dragoons for the current moment, and I really like summoning them on my side of the field because it has 500 more attack, even if a Dragoons negates, then I can actually go after my opponent. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle the deck up again and see what we can actually pull off in this next test hand. So after we shuffle up the deck, we're going to draw, and we're going to draw into a copy of Spirit Dragon. We're going to draw into Whitestone of Legend, Alternative White, Monster Reborn, and a copy of Cards of Consonance. Okay, this is pretty good because we have the Cards of Consonance. So we're going to go ahead and activate the Cards of Consonance, and we're going to go ahead and ditch these two to the graveyard. So the Cards of Consonance will be Chain Link 1, this will be Chain Link 2 because it went to the graveyard, and we're going to go ahead and add a copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon from our deck to our hand. So once we add that copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon from our deck to our hand, we're going to shuffle the deck and then get another draw, which is going to be super helpful for us to get that extra draw too. So now that we draw 2, we're going to draw into a copy of Trade-In and a copy of Dragon's Mirror, which Dragon's Mirror is really helpful in this particular instance because if I can get all my Blue Eyes to the graveyard, I can just go directly in for another copy of a monster. So we're going to go ahead and drop the Trade-In. Actually, no, I don't want to drop the Trade-In yet. I'm going to go ahead and reveal the Blue Eyes in my hand, and I'm going to special summon out a copy of Alternative White Dragon. So now I'm going to go ahead and use the copy of Trade-In to ditch the copy of Blue Eyes in my hand. And once I send that to the graveyard, it's going to let me draw 2 more, which is a Polymerization and a copy of Melody. So now that I have this hand, I really have some insane board potential where I have the Melody. So the Melody I'm going to go ahead and use, and I'm going to send from my hand to the graveyard a copy of Spirit Dragon to activate the copy of Melody. And this is going to let me add from my deck to my hand 2 dragon monsters with 2,500 or less defense and 3,000 or more attack. So I'm going to add from my deck to my hand a copy of, say, Blue Eyes White Dragon if I want to add the Blue Eyes White Dragon, and I can add a copy of Alternative to my hand as well, or I can even add Chaos Dragon Levinair, but if I didn't have that copy of my... If I didn't have in my hand already a copy of Poly and Dragon's Mirror, I probably would add this, especially if I wasn't going first. So now that I'm going to add a copy of Alternative White as well, because the Alternative White's going to get me so much more advantage to go after my opponent. So we're going to go ahead and get a little bit of a setup. You're going to play a little cautiously with this particular hand, a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and activate my copy of Polymerization and fusion summon these 3 monsters together to summon my copy of Blue Eyes Alternative Alternative Ultimate Dragon, which is a really amazing card because it has the ability, if you guys are not familiar with what this card does, it is insanely good. Because what it does is your opponent cannot target it or destroy it with card effects, and then once per turn, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. And if it was if this card was fusion summoned using a monster whose original name is Blue Eyes White Dragon, Alternative White Dragon, as a material, you can target 3 cards your opponent controls instead, but this card cannot attack the turn this effect is activated. I get 3 pops on my opponent, and I can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. This card is really good, and it's a 4500 beat stick that I can really just end on, and I can even bring it back with my Monster Reborn if my opponent outs it, and he'll still come back with 1 pop, and then I can summon a second one if I want to with my copy of Dragon's Mirror. So if I go into the next turn, and my opponent can't handle this, I'm going to go ahead and draw into a copy of Trade-In, which is totally fine. I don't really need it, but I'm going to go ahead and drop the copy of Monster Reborn. Now, the Monster Reborn is going to help me out a lot because I can just go ahead and bring back one of the alternatives that I actually summoned correctly, or I can bring my copy of Spirit Dragon back to my field because when this card is normally special summon, I can target a spell card my opponent controls and banish it. And then you can target, then you can also tribute this card special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from my hand. Or I can bring back my copy of Alternative White, which I'm probably going to do that instead. Now I'm going to go ahead and activate my copy of Dragon's Mirror in this particular instance, and I'm going to banish my copy of my Blue Eyes White Dragon, my copy of Alternative White, and my Blue Eyes White Dragon in the graveyard, and I'm going to special summon to my side of the field a second copy of Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon to my side of the field. So I have 2 of these bad boys on the field now, which is 9,000 damage. Both of them can pop up to 3 times, so 6 cards, and this can pop a 7th card. So you have 7 pops on the field right now just with these 2, and you have on field 12,000 damage if you don't, which is really insane damage to the board that you can just instantly go 45, 3k, or this can pop whatever monsters your opponent has on the field, and then these 2 can just swing through as needed or pop what they need to. Now, if my opponent was to get rid of my field at any instance, then get rid of this copy of Alternative White, or they got rid of the copy of Alternative on my turn, I could still go into this copy of Ultimate Dragon, and I could have used the Monster Reborn to summon back my copy of Alternative Dragon, popped 3, and then swung for 45, which would have been really, really insane as well, which would have been really nice. If I draw into my next turn, it's another copy of a Melody, and I can use the copy of Melody if I want to and get even better board because I can add my copy of my Chaos Dragon Legionnaire, and I can add, say, a Blue Eyes White Dragon from my deck to the hand as well. And if I have the materials, which I believe I do still in the graveyard, yeah, I have 3 lights. I can go 1, I can go 2, and I can go 3, banish, and then I can special summon out my copy of Chaos Dragon Legionnaire, which is going to get me a pop of 2 as well, which is really cool, because if you banish only light monsters, you can special a monster from your graveyard in defense, which I have no monsters left in my graveyard, but if they, again, were going to pop this, I could just bring it back, because I did correctly fusion summon it originally, I could just bring it back. The actual effect that you get to pop 2 is if you use light and dark monsters, but I didn't. I just used light, so I get to special summon a monster from my graveyard in defense, which can be a 3,800 wall against my opponent, and I still have my copy of Alternative Ultimate, so this card came back twice if it was dealt with against my opponent, and I'm still left with a Blue Eyes that if I draw for turn, I get a return, and I can bring back my copy of Chaos Dragon Legionnaire to my side of the field at that point. And I also have in my graveyard the, no, I don't have it, that was the last test time that I had the other copy of return. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with another test ham. As you can see, we've gone for the Synchro route and XZ route, and then we went for the Fusion route. So let's see if we can go for anything else. I actually really love this deck and really want to do some live duels of it soon. So you guys are probably going to see some live duels of Fusion Blue Eyes on the channel very soon. So let's go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can pull off for at least one more test hand to see if we can do anything really crazy. As you can see, this deck is really good and can just go into so many plays. I actually could have gone for Link Rebo just by normal summoning out the White Stone of Legend and still searched to Blue Eyes. And I never even used my normal summon, but since I had that Cards of Consonance, I wanted to draw the 2 cards. So let's go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can pull off for the next one. So For the next one, we're going to go ahead and draw and get into a trade-in a copy of 1-for-1, Blue Eyes White Dragon, Polymerization, and a copy of Alternative White. So this is a pretty interesting hand. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm probably going to go ahead and resolve my copy of Alternative by revealing this Blue Eyes in my hand. So now that we have that particular field, I'm going to go ahead and ditch the copy of Blue Eyes from my hand and draw 2, which is another Alternative White and another trade-in, which I'm going to dig again, which now we've drawn 4 cards this turn, and we're going to draw into a copy of the White Stone of Ancients and a Blue Eyes White Dragon. So now you could feasibly go ahead and use the copy of 1-for-1 if you wanted to, and you could go ahead and if you wanted to send the copy of White Stone of Ancients to the graveyard, you could, or you could normal summon it out to your side of the field. It depends on which way you want to go. But this card has the ability, once returned during the end phase, if this card's in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can special summon a Blue Eyes monster from your deck, and you can banish this card from your graveyard to target a Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. So you have 2 instances that you could go for. I probably would just go ahead and send it to the graveyard. So I could go ahead and grab out of the deck a 1-for-1 target, which would be my copy of my White Stone of Legends at this particular instance, because it's going to get me a little bit more of a play in this particular instance as well, where I can go ahead and use it as a link summon, like I mentioned before, and summon out a copy of Linkuriboh, which then I can search the deck for a copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon for my last copy, I believe, of Blue Eyes White Dragon in the deck, because one's already in the graveyard because I ditched it for a trade-in target. Now again, I've got the setup. If I wanted to, I could go directly for a copy of Alternative Ultimate, or I could just leave the field as is. I usually like to go for it because it's a little bit more defensive than the copy of Alternative Dragon, and you can go ahead and fusion summon this away, summon your copy of Alternative, and you have a Linkuriboh that's going to prevent this from getting smacked over, and the only way they're really going to out this is with a Kaiju, or with a copy of maybe Nibiru, which I didn't even summon. I summoned 3 times in this particular. Now I summoned the White Stone, Alternative, this, and Linkuriboh. So I summoned 4 times, so I am under Nibiru. And I have, during the end phase, I have my copy of my, I have the copy of the Ancients, which lets me special summon a copy of a Blue Eyes monster from the deck, which at this point you will hit your 5th summon, but I'm going to go ahead and summon a copy of Abyss Dragon into defense position, and Abyss Dragon's effect is going to go off, letting me add a Polymerization from my deck to the hand, which is going to help me out a little bit more to be able to just grab an additional Polymerization to give me more plays in this particular scenario, that I can ditch the copy Polymerization for a copy of another card. Now, if this card is special summon, you can add a ritual spell or a Polymerization from your deck to your hand. During end phase, you can add 1 level 8 or higher dragon monster from your deck to your hand. Since it was special summoned during the end phase, you get that effect as well to add the level 8 dragon monster from your deck to the hand, which I'm going to add Chaos Dragon Levinair, which is pretty nice to be able to just add that from deck to hand because it's happening all in the end phase. And then it also has the ability that you can banish this card from your graveyard, and all level 8 higher monsters you control gain 1,000 attack. And you only use each effect of Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon once per turn, and can only activate them while Blue Eyes White Dragon's on the field or in the graveyard. And guess what? I have 3 Blue Eyes in the graveyard. I think we're well into that. So we're going to go ahead and grab the Chaos Dragon Levinair. And now when we pass, we've already got a setup for the next turn. We've got Abyss Dragon, we've got the Alternative Ultimate, and when we draw in a Dragon's Mirror. We drop the Dragon's Mirror, and we're going to immediately go in for a copy of another Alternative Ultimate. Now you can, if you want to, not summon this and summon out the copy of Neo. You can summon Neo if you want to for multiple attacks, but I usually like to just go for the Alternative Ultimate. And if you have this in the graveyard, you have still the copies in the grave that you can go 1, 2, 3 and summon out a copy of Chaos Dragon Levinair, which is going to get you a special summon from the graveyard, which, since we did have the copy of the White Stone of Legends, you could have that, or you could go ahead and special summon out the White Stone of Ancients instead and banish the copy of Legends and have that on your side of the field, and then synchro these 2 together and go in for an additional play of summoning out a copy of your Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon in defense or attack. It doesn't super matter which way you go. I usually would probably put it in attack position just to give me an additional advantage, but that's totally up to you. So that's pretty much what you can do with this particular deck. As you can see, this is a pretty insane board. You have a leftover poly. You can't really do anything with a leftover poly. The only thing I've really considered in here is throwing in a copy of the first of the dragons, but I don't really know where I would put it. Maybe, I honestly don't, to be honest. So it's totally up to you if you go that route. If you want to summon that card as well, it's a total option for you guys. But with this particular field, you're stopping your opponent from graveyard effects once. You got 6 pops in between them. This card special summoned a card back attack and you have a blocking attack 1. So you have a pretty decent board. It is an all-in deck, which is kind of the way Blue Eyes has always been. It's not control-based. You're going all in and you're trying to win. And I love the play with the Alternative Ultimate because Alternative Ultimate is just ridiculously good in this particular game, especially with the 3 pops and being able to just not attack afterwards is totally fine, but being able to pop 3 cards is ridiculously good. So I think that's it for this particular test hand, guys. Definitely tell what you think of this one down in the comments down below. It's really fun. We displayed that we can go for every single mechanic in the extra deck, which is what I was aiming for to show you guys. And we even got to use the new Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon, which is super nice to show you the potential of that card. Being able to add that copy of your polymerization from your deck to your hand is just super nice in a regular Blue Eyes deck. And it just makes use of the Blue Eyes and drives home that I really like the Blue Eyes Fusion build more than any of the other builds, even more. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.